Thank you and good morning to everyone in your boot camp in Germany. I'm speaking here from Israel, and yes, I'm speaking in the representing here KMGN, which is a knowledge management global network that tries to join different associations and networks of knowledge management around the world in order together to collaborate, to co-create, to develop and utilize the discipline of knowledge management and the profession of knowledge, so the world will be a better place. And from month to month and from year to year, we are growing, and we are very proud that Germany, Austria, and Switzerland have really been among the the part of the countries that joined us this year. So I want to introduce myself in two lengths, but I run a knowledge management consultancy firm, and I have something like 40 employees that's what they do, consult on knowledge management in Israel as their daily job. And in addition, I served this year as the KMGN chair 2022. In my past, I was also today I have a role as the chair of the ISO30401 committee, where we 4 years ago we developed we finished developing the ISO30401 standard. It has nothing to do with KMGN. I'll explain in a few minutes what we did in KMGN. So the ISO30401, as you know, is an ISO standard, which was developed by the ISO organization. And as it had experts for all kinds of countries, I was the Israeli representative. We also had someone from Germany and from US and from different countries. Indeed, from UK, we had a lot of people. And I was the chair of this committee, which has been writing the standard and now is in charge of new developments and updates to this standard. So an interesting question is, why should organizations be interested in standards at all? So maybe in Germany, the DIN is a very strong association and people are aware of the idea of standards, but there's more than one reason why we want standards. So if I'm looking at a regular company, sometimes they need it because there's a regulation demand. But when we go to our activities of knowledge management or other soft managed disciplines, sometimes they want it because not there's a regulation that otherwise you can't run your business, but there's a market demand. The market is saying, if you have a standard, I know that you are good. So when I'm choosing the suppliers that I work with, I'm going to look for suppliers that have this or that or those standards. So the first reason is having someone ask for it, the market, the regulation, someone outside your organization. Sometimes we find organizations which do not have to do it, as they are not suppliers in the regular sense, let's say banks or ministries of the government. So their reason why they should or could be interested is their ability to demonstrate their excellence on the discipline on which they are certified, on which they want to show that they have a standard. So some organizations need it because of the market, and some organizations need it because that's their way to say, we have a great KM program, but if they say it, okay, so they said it. But if they have the stamp, the certification of ISO, wow, yes, they are probably excellent in this field. Another reason that we see that organizations are interested, for which organizations are interested in standards, are because it gives you a benchmarking. It gives you a benchmarking in order to understand where you are. So we find many organizations that have knowledge management activities, but are somewhere on their journey, on the way to excellence. They're not great, but they have already a lot of activities, or they're doing KM for a few years already. And the standard can help them in benchmarking where they are in this journey to excellence, and not only where they are, but it can give them a good idea what they could and should do in order to turn excellent. And that, of course, connects us to the last reason that indeed standards, if you follow them, when I'm speaking about management standards, are a path to KM excellence. So these are 4 reasons why organizations may be interested in standards. I find some additional reasons. For example, it's a way for different organizations to speak in the same language, and then they can copy one from another, or learn from one from another, or easily cooperate or collaborate. So there are many additional reasons, and I just gave the tip of the iceberg where we're standing. So I want to now go into the standard itself and explain the ISO 30401 standard in a few words. I believe that some people in the room, or some people who are listening to us, are already familiar with the idea of management standards of ISO. And these management standards have 2 parts. They have the skeleton that is not identical, but almost identical for all the different standards, with small additions, small refinements for every specific discipline. And they have some demands, some requirements that have to do specifically with the discipline we are speaking about. In our case, we are speaking about knowledge management. So the knowledge part is in our specific standard. So all management standards have the same skeleton, but we have specific additional chapters or paragraphs that reflect us being not a risk management or an innovation management standard, but rather a knowledge management standard. So after this preface, what does a standard include? And I'm going to give you in a nutshell the idea of the standard, explain it through what we call a concept map, which explains what chapters we have, what paragraphs we have, and what is included in the standard. So of course, the standard itself includes introduction and includes normative references and terms and definitions. I'll stop here for a minute because you may think that an introduction is not important. And in some sense, you are correct, because introduction has no requirements in it. But for those of us who are interested in knowledge management, it has so many good things that is really worth looking at. For example, the most important thing in the introduction, in my point of view at least, is that it includes the principles for good knowledge management, because you can follow the rules, but if you don't do it with the right spirit, you're lost. So the spirit of things, think of it, Ron Young, Arthur Shelley, so many people from all over the world came together to one table and tried thinking what would be the best principles of good knowledge management. So, for example, that is only one of the parts that is in the introduction. So we have an introduction in terms and definitions and normative reference. And then we have somewhat a context of what the organization is speaking about. What are the issues that the organization is interested in? What are the expectations and needs? What are the risks and opportunities? All this we do before we go into the standard itself. Because if we won't be aware of these, if we won't understand them, and not only understand them, but understand them thoroughly, we won't really match with the KM activities we hold. Because these KM activities are not somewhere in the air. They cannot be copy-pasted from organization to organization. They have to refer and address your need, your organizational issues, your organizational expectations, needs, risks, and opportunities. So now I'm going into the KMS itself. The KMS is what we call the knowledge management system. I must say that the word system is not what we call software. It is the full infrastructure that makes it happen. And we're speaking about a few things. First of all, you define your scope. Is the whole organization one division or anything else? You explain or you define your KM policy. You define your KM objectives that, of course, have to reflect with the expectations, the needs, the issues, the risks and opportunities. The policy, of course, has to speak and refer to our organization and its culture. And then there are 4 main paragraphs that are the core of our standard. I'll leave the culture out for a minute. These 3 paragraphs look in different perspectives on our activities in the organization, and they ask you in different perspectives if you're doing it all in order to see that you're doing it in an excellent level. For example, when we're looking at the development life cycle, they are asking, do you have ways to see that you acquire new knowledge, that you develop the new knowledge, that you use it, that you apply it, that you retain it, and then when it's obsolete, you do something with it so people won't use it if it isn't updated. So that's one way, one perspective to look at it. And we have 2 additional perspectives, one looking at the enablers and one looking at the different transformations of knowledge. And we, for a purpose, added here the logo of the SECI model, because this paragraph is really based on the 4 levels of socialization, externalization, combination, and interpretation. So these are 3 different perspectives by which auditors or which the standard audits your KM activities, overlapping one with another, because each one comes from a different perspective, seeing that you really have a great KMS, a great knowledge management system. Of course, all of this has to lie on a great infrastructure of KM culture, and I believe that we were the first standard and maybe the only one to include demands, requirements for culture within a standard itself, because usually standards deal with more well-defined things, not with culture. And of course, it is very important always in all management standards, but we thought it's important to notice also here that no knowledge management system is static. It also always has to be improved again and again and again, learning our lessons and next year making it even better than it was last year. We need leadership, we need roles, we need operation. All of these are important. Another part of our treasure box are the annexes of the structure, of the standard. Again, like the introduction, they do not include any requirements. So organization and KMers might, skip them, but in my perspective, they have the best treasures. It's really like a treasure box. One annex just helps us understand the different very close disciplines to knowledge management and what are the relations and what are the differences. Another annex helps us understand the idea of the continuum of the knowledge, and it was a great piece that, by the way, we developed in Berlin. I remember one day afternoon in Berlin, we sat and we asked ourselves, is it implicit or explicit? Is it tacit or explicit? What are the right yes, no questions, the 0-1? And then we said, no, there's no 0-1. It is a continuum. So please go and see Annex B and understand it better. And Annex C helps us understanding our knowledge management culture and how it can be standardized and how you can work on improving it again and again. So in a nutshell, this is a standard. What did we do with it in KMGN? So the truth is that this project, which is not yet completed, but I hope to end it at the end of 2022, started from a friend of us Asif from Pakistan. And Asif knocked on my door one day and said, you know, we already have, for something like 3-4 years, we have a standard, and we have a very difficult job implementing it. Not because it's difficult, because organizations are not starting to do it. And we have to find ways to do it together, because if every one of us will try to do it by himself or herself in his or her country, the results would be poor. So I told him, you know what, we have a great platform, KMGN. Let's see if we have a lot of friends who want to help. So these are the main people that were on this project. Ayan from Australia, Asif from Pakistan, Hamid from Iran, David from France, Vincent from Bangkok, Thailand, myself from Israel, Mali and Ved from India, Khatab from Jordan, and Lucky from Indonesia. So you see, it's really multicultural, multi-language, multi-thinking, and I hope we got, and we are getting not bad results at all. So what do? We prepared a toolbox that includes 4 toolkits. The first is the starter's kit. That's the only one that we didn't complete yet. We're on our way, and as I said, I hope that until December, so we will finish it, we will complete it, but 90%, and cross fingers, it will be ready, finished till the end of this year. So what is this starter's kit? It's a set of presentations and videos that explain the standard step by step, chapter by chapter, paragraph by paragraph. If I gave, for example, the knowledge development life cycle, it takes the demands and explains what the standard requests in more words in an easy to understand way. So that's the first kit. It's a kit that will be on our KMGN website. And of course, the videos, we will have a playlist of our videos on our YouTube channel. So we'll hand in, and what I'm showing you here is, I'll say it now, and maybe I'll say it at the end again. All these tools that we are preparing are free for use for any KMer around the world, because we want more KM, we want better KM, and we want to have a better world based on KM. So that's why we are very eager. Everyone is volunteering here to prepare these toolkits. So that's toolkit number 1 for those who are starting their ISO 30401 journey and want to understand the standard better. We have here, and this is the biggest tool, I believe, we have here what we call a journey toolkit for 80% of the organizations which have KM activities, but are somewhere on their journey preparing it, working on it. And I'll show it in a few minutes. We prepared here what we call a compass, enabling to benchmark where you are and enabling to set your direction in order to achieve the the silver prize of being excellent in knowledge management. And then we have a third toolkit. And what I'm showing you, 2, 3, and 4 are already ready and available on our website or on our shared drive for whoever wants to use them, which is an advanced toolkit. And that is addressed for organizations that have excellent KM activities. However, they did not translate these activities, these KM programs, into the ISO language. And we prepared for them a very easy to use toolkit in order to transfer all their activities and say, okay, if we already have a great KM program, it's almost no sweat, no work, almost at all. A month or 2, not work time, but a month or 2 from now, you can be ready working on your documents and be ready for an certification. And the last is a set of resources, all kinds of lists and aids. So I'll go into details. The starter kit. Yes, any question? The starter kits. The audience of this is organizations who have no knowledge regarding the standard. Our objective is orientation, helping them to understand piece after piece, part after part, the essence of the standard of its details. What does it include? Videos and the presentations on which these videos were based on. And where is it? The main part, the videos are on our YouTube channel. All other pieces are now on our shared drive, open for everyone to use, and in the future will be on our website. The Journey Kit, our compass, very, very recommended tool. It has many components. It's for 80% of the organizations, as I said, who have some KM program in somewhat level. It can help them benchmark themselves regarding the others, regarding the excellence. And it is a compass how to thrive to KM excellence. Because if you know where you're good and where you're challenged, you know where you have to work. So what are the components of it? First of all, it includes a brief explaining how to use the whole toolkit, how to, what it includes and what to do first and what to do after. And it gives also index showing for every tool we prepared, for every document we prepare, how it reflects specific paragraphs and sentences in the standard itself. The main part is a questionnaire, which we really worked on and is based on many questionnaires. Now, I know that there are not a lot of maturity models out there in the world for KM. There's the APQC one and the KRO one and the one of African Commissaire. But now we are asking everyone, leave all the old tools. Let us all start working with the same questionnaire. Let's take the ISO standard. It's not my maturity model. It's not his, it's not hers. It's our maturity model. Let's take its questionnaire and use it as a new maturity model. It can help everyone, and this questionnaire is not formally part of the ISO. It doesn't, it's not their ownership. It's not ISO's ownership. It's KMGN's ownership. So everyone can use it for free, even if they did not buy the standard itself. Of course, I recommend to buy the standard to purchase it. And then we have a small evaluation form that helps you take the questions and assess where you are. And we worked very hard on this assessment because we wanted the evaluation to be the same. Because if we're asking a question and 5 different people answer it, even if they're looking at the same cup or at the same knowledge management system, everyone is looking at it from his or her perspective. So what was important for us to have the same rubrics, that's how we call them, that help you assess your organization the same way that someone else would assess your organization. So many people, it's not that one is very easy in giving you good grades and the other is very strict. Everyone is in the same level because we don't have only same questions, but we have very detailed rubrics that help you assess yourself in an objective manner. And then we have a compass radar that helps you see the big picture, where and what dimensions you should invest more and where you're okay, and a template for a work plan in order to see 3 years from now, what are the big stones, the big milestones that we want to achieve. Again, it's on the website and on our shared drive. And we have the third toolkit. That's what we call the advanced toolkit for organizations that really have an excellent KM program. That's what they believe. And they are considering ISO certification, but they don't know if they should do it because it's a lot of work. And even if they decided, why should they sweat and do so much work if we can help them and make this sub-journey small as possible, easy, fast process of ISO certification if you already have an excellent program. So what does such a toolkit include? Again, also this is already ready, prepared out there, available for everyone and free. It includes a brief, again, explaining how to use this toolkit. And it includes a set of templates, a template for building, for designing a KM policy. So it's not that now you start designing your policy. You take your policy, whether written or unwritten, and you use this template in order to write it down in a way that will be easy, because when the ISO auditor will come, he will look for your template for your policy. Now there's another template for yearly summary. What did I do last year? If I already have it several years, and what am I planning to do next year? It has another template for understanding business needs, objectives, and risk template. Because again, as we said, we are not working in a vacuum. We want to relate to our specific needs, objectives, and risks. And there's also a template for the management review, minutes of meeting. And of course, a work plan template. All of these together compose our toolkit that helps you, if you have a great KM program, to translate it into the ISO language and very easily get your certification. And the last one, what we call the resources kit. This is things that we mainly collected. It's for everyone who is learning or implementing ISO 30401, and we wanted them to succeed. So what did we include? First of all, we included organizations that we know already about that have ISO 30401 certification. So it could be an organization like myself, that I have 40 employees and we are a consultancy organization. And it could be municipality. For example, we have 2 municipalities that already have ISO certification, one in Israel in Netanya and one in Abu Dhabi. So it's great. So now if someone in Berlin wants to see if the municipality of Berlin wants to have an ISO 30401 certification, they already have details of 2 municipalities worldwide, one in Israel and one in Abu Dhabi, that already have such. And it's also a way for them to knock on the door in their organization and say, hey, it's important that we have it. We're even not the first municipality. There are already several other ones, and we can even speak with them, etc. Now, we included here also introduction videos that we found on the internet. So now if you want to listen and see some of the free webinars that are on ISO 30401 implementation, that maybe Ron Young has prepared, or Nick Milton, or anybody else. So whatever we found, we collected them and put them together on one list. And of course, if anyone has additional ideas or knows about additional organizations that have certifications, please update us. So this would be a live, updated database. We also included here translation lists. I'm not aware of it. You don't have a formal translation to Germany, right, Andreas?
Well,
I do have.
Yeah.
You do have?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't remember. So we have already to Russian, and we have already to Persian, and we have to Hebrew, and we have to Germany. And now I know they're working on the Chinese one and the Arabic one. So we are giving people and organizations, of course in English and French, details of where they can find the formal translations in order to make this journey easier. And we have some additional free materials that we thought can help you. For example, there's a book on named the Knowledge Management Cookbook, which was written by 3 people, one of them Patricia Eng. And Patricia Eng in the US is the, she's in charge today of certifying auditors for ISO30401 audits. So if anyone in UK or in Germany or anywhere else in the world wants to be ISO30401 auditor, so most of them go and learn it from Patricia. So Patricia, for example, gave us her list of questions and issues that one has to complete in order to be sure that he's ready for the test for the certification audit. So examples of different types of materials are also on our toolkit. Patricia herself, she was a quiet member of our team. She said that because she's on the other side of the this game, she cannot be active, but she was very close, and she examined what we did very closely, and sometimes she would call me or write to me and said, you know, here and there. So we are all aligned and on the same page. So this is our toolbox. 4 toolkits, 3 for the different levels. You can use them all. You can use each one that can help us. And we are urging you, please use it. Implement the standard and reshare with others, because we believe that whoever helps in bringing more organizations to using the standard helps us taking the level of knowledge management in these organizations, and from one to one to one, it would turn to be a trend, and it will be turn to be a trend. It would turn to be a market requirement, and it will upgrade the level of knowledge management in the world. And we believe that it is important, because we believe that we are really in a knowledge economy, and in a knowledge economy, more KM, better KM means more wealth to the world through our discipline. And we are very proud to give our share and help doing it. So please help us and join us in this project, in using it, and in additional KM projects that we are intending to run next year and the year after and after. Thank you very much. And if there are some questions, now is the time.